Hello and welcome to National Focus. I'm Pearl Fontaine. Thank you for joining us. Topping the headlines, Prime Minister Skerrit says his administration is in full support of free movement of CARICOM citizens within the region. Corporate strategy in the works for Discover Dominica Authority, and 9 students set to participate in first ever Mademoiselle Francophonie pageant. Stay with us for details of these and other stories when National Focus returns. Welcome back. The body of former Speaker of the House of Assembly, Frederick Osborne Sims, was laid to rest on Monday. An official funeral service was held at the St. Alphonsus Roman Catholic Church for the deceased, who passed away on March 12th. The service was attended by President of Dominica, His Excellency Eliud Williams, Acting Prime Minister Honorable Reginald Austrie, members of both sides of Parliament, former Prime Ministers and Presidents, members of the Diplomatic Corps, and representatives of various departments of the public service and private sector.
This is therefore a time for serious reflection on our first beginning and our last end, from clay to dust.
The deceased held several positions in the public service, including Director of Audit, Permanent Secretaries in various ministries, and Chief Establishment Officer. He also served as Secretary to the Public Service Commission and was Chairperson of the Job Classification Appeals Committee. He also served on the Board of Directors of the National Bank of Dominica and the National Bank of St. Lucia. We at GIS express our deepest sympathies to the family of the late Frederick Osborne Sims. In more news, Dominicans have been assured that regular drills to test the effectiveness of disaster management procedures and the safety of residents are on the agenda for the Office of Disaster Management. Disaster Coordinator Don Corriette, along with his department, sees the importance of being prepared in case of disaster. According to the coordinator, there are a few more exercises coming up.
We did an exercise with the Ministry of Health, for example. We did with fire services. So exercises are going to be ongoing and not necessarily in tsunami preparedness only, but in flooding, in earthquakes, and other hazards. So this exercise is just one of many to come down the road. We plan in a hazard week, for example, sometime in May, and chances are we may plan a simulation exercise. We haven't zeroed into the details yet, but certainly we'll look at a simulation exercise for hazard week come May.
Corriette was speaking to GIS News last week following a tsunami simulation exercise which took place in Portsmouth recently. According to the ODM manager, these measures are part of a comprehensive disaster management plan to combine the strategies of various sectors into a community-based plan. Acting Program Officer Steve Joseph explained further.
Importantly, this is part of a bigger process of preparing Dominica to be tsunami ready. And we concentrate heavily on being prepared for hurricanes, but tsunami is an important matter for Dominica. And let us make it clear, Dominica has been in the past affected by tsunamis. So we are in a process of focusing on Portsmouth, as was said. And we will be going back there this coming week on Wednesday. First of all, to hear from them their own experiences in a debrief, but to begin to put some concrete targets towards further establishing the Community Disaster Committee, establishing a plan that we can fully simulate, and to make preparations for a bigger project that we hope to undertake under a UNDP-funded initiative.
The Office of Disaster Management, by adopting this plan, aims to enhance and strengthen all disaster management concepts with the collaboration of the public and private sectors, non-governmental organizations, and civil society. Moving along, the Ministry of Education has taken proactive measures to ensure that literature teachers at secondary schools on the island are in fact well trained. On Monday, literature teachers began a 2-day workshop on Caribbean literature and poetry at the Public Service Training Center. The training exercise is designed to expose teachers to the work of great Caribbean poets. Senior Education Officer at the Curriculum Measurement and Evaluation Unit, Nicholas Goldberg, endorsed the workshop, saying that the work of renowned Caribbean poets should be appreciated. Mr. Goldberg is hoping that this week's workshop will serve as a catalyst that will set fire to the imagination of teachers and students alike.
It is my hope that this workshop will open the eyes of our teachers to the power of the poem and motivate them to discover the Caribbean poets and better appreciate their work. For to be a teacher of literature, you must read literature. Similarly, to be a teacher of poetry, you must read poetry. Further, you need to practice your trade and write poetry. Poetry should be stimulating and exciting. Teachers' choice of poets and poems for their classes should motivate them and their students.
A distinguished panel of experts from the University of the West Indies Cave Hill campus is currently in Dominica, assisting Dominican teachers in the area of Caribbean poetry through the Caribbean Poetry Workshop series. Dominica's Education Minister, Honorable Peter Sejean, says this poetry workshop for teachers complements efforts by his ministry to enhance the performance of students in CXC English literature.
While we can be proud of our performance at external examinations in English, we are not complacent and are constantly reviewing our strategies to ensure that as many of our students as possible excel. We are further committed to developing the skills of our teachers to help them prepare adequately and effectively to teach our students, thus improving our literacy level.
The minister encouraged participants to make the most of the workshop opportunity. He encouraged the teachers to find creative ways to teach poetry.
I know how important it is to find enjoyable, creative ways to teach any subject across the school's curriculum. Poetry can enrich the classroom by offering a new way to view everyday experiences and getting your students involved in lessons designed to build and develop an appreciation for language and the world around them.
The Caribbean Poetry Workshop ended on Tuesday. In more news, a 3-day National Tourism Summit began at the Fortune Hotel on Monday with hopes of developing a corporate strategy action plan for the Discover Dominica Authority. According to Tourism Director Colin Piper, that strategy must complement government's Tourism Master Plan, which in turn harmonizes with the tourism policy and the Growth and Social Protection Strategy. Attending that summit were various stakeholder groups in the tourism industry and experts from around the globe. One such expert delivering a presentation on the corporate strategy was Dr. Philip Hennigan of CHL Consulting, an organization which specializes in the international tourism industry. Dr. Hennigan's presentation analyzed the mission and vision statements of the Discover Dominica Authority and affirmed that the establishment is suited to its purpose despite its primary challenge of inadequate funding. The consultant addressed aspects of Dominica's tourism industry which require attention, including the availability of market-ready accommodation.
We really need to get a 50% room occupancy on average. And that translates to an increase of 7% a year in room nights, in bed nights, and in tourist numbers. And that is a big challenge. There's no question and no getting away from it. But you don't have a choice. There's no point in talking about a lower growth rate. You just don't have a choice. Because if those rooms are to be financially viable, if the industry is to survive and thrive, you need a minimum of a growth rate of 7% a year. And when that's translated, it comes down to getting 90,000 stay-over visitors by 2015, compared with 75,000 approximately right now. And that is the challenge that is facing us, the challenge facing the DDA, and the challenge facing the market representatives.
A subject critical to the DDA's ability to realize its vision, according to Dr. Hennigan, is the need for the authority to pay more attention to information and communication technology in the fulfillment of its goal.
The way things are moving forward now, and I'll talk about it later, is e-marketing, e-distribution, e-commerce is the name of the game. We don't spend enough money and we don't spend enough effort on that area at head office. And that is one of the areas that must be improved. Just to mention, for example, the more successful destinations spend between 20 and 30% of their marketing budget on e-marketing. For example, the Irish Tourist Board, no, they're much bigger. It has got a suite of 42 websites. Yes, 42 websites. It's got about 30 people in their communications and IT department. That's where it's at. And that is one of the major things that's sticking out here with regard to how the organisation is structured.
The tourism expert suggested to the summit that a complete restructuring of the Discover Dominica Authority setup will allow for more focused approaches towards various facets of marketing Dominica.
I'm going to make some recommendations as to how it should be restructured, again to fit in with what is not just best practice today, but how to achieve those targets that are in front of us for the next 3, 7, 10 years. Product development a misnomer, because product development means that you really invest in the product. If you want to develop it, you invest in it. And the name harks back to the days when tourist boards used to own hotels and would actually implement training and undertake these activities as part of its normal day-to-day operations. But that was a time when the tourism industry was small and economies were smaller. But as tourism has become a much more sophisticated industry with different needs and different requirements and different skills, so these functions have been hived off, if you like, or taken by more specialized agencies.
The third and final day of the summit will bring an open forum and the presentation of an action plan. Special Advocate for the Alpha Center, Claudia Bellett, has welcomed a program which will improve on teachers' ability to impart knowledge to children with special needs. Last week, teachers of the Alpha Center benefited from a special training program offered by consultant volunteers from the Rotary Club of Orleans, Canada. Ms. Bellett, who is also the president of the Dominica Association of the Mentally Handicapped, in welcoming the group to the island, encouraged the teachers to tap into the resources and expertise of the visiting team. She says this training augurs well for the continued development of the services offered by the Alpha Center.
Here at the Alpha Center, we, of course, provide facilities for children who have special needs. And we've been doing that for a very long time. We started in a very small way. We have built progressively on our programs over the years. And as we continue to operate the center, we would like to, of course, continue to improve and to be the best that we can be. And to offer the students who come here, improved programs. And so we want to learn from what other countries are doing and from your skills, as I'm sure you have access to research and to areas where you think we can improve.
Presently, the Alpha Center caters to 40 special needs students. Ms. Bellett views the training as being beneficial not only for the teachers of the Alpha Center, but for the other schools providing special needs programs.
I'm sure that there are many more children out there who require the kind of services that the Alpha Center provides. And I know that the Ministry of Education is attempting to integrate special needs programs into the mainstream schools. And so the teachers who are here from the Ministry of Education, you have an opportunity to imbibe some of the skills that are being given this week, and to ensure that whenever you have students at your schools who require, special attention, that you can provide that special attention to them.
Ms. Bellett, who has been associated with the Alpha Center from the inception, thanked the Rotary Club volunteers from Orleans, Canada, for the special needs training and called for a long-term partnership to be developed. And that's the English segment of the news. McPherson St. Luce is next with the Creole highlights.
Allô tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle en créole. Non, moi c'est McPherson St. Luce. Premièrement, Premier ministre Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt, te chef délégation Dominique qui attendait une assemblée au ICS qui prend place en Antigua. D'autres membres de délégation Dominique c'était Honorable Reuben Blackmore, Honorable Ambrose George, Honorable Dr. John Colin McIntyre et puis chef opposition Honorable Hector John. Commissioner au ICS, His Excellency Félix Grégoire, aussi attendait meeting là. Pendant session meeting là, ça fait qu'à concerner free movement, ça c'est pour faciliter moun voyager en pays OICS sans pièce barrière, ensemble et puis on amendment pour faire aviation civile, taper haut attention. Bagay qui affecte OICS aussi discuté. Il aussi discuté revise the Treaty of Bastille et puis comment il ça want prosperity pour PEP OICS. En d'autres nouvelles, ministère de l'Éducation, Honorable Peter Saint-Jean, qu'a créé à ses teachers et tout le monde en société éducation pour embrasser Child Friendly Schools Programme. Ministère de l'Éducation lance ce programme là pour trainer teachers, taper en meilleur environ, où là tout étudiant taper opportunité à apprendre.
Ça nous avons jour de jour, tout partout où on la terre, en Caraïbes et aussi en Dominique. Il y a un lot mal qui a fait en société. Ça nous a créé social ills. Jeunes gens, jour du jour, sont exposés pour différents bitins qui ont affecté yo, qui ont affecté manière yo ka agir avec yon de l'autre, manière moun ka vivre avec voisinage yo. Et nous avons créé comme ministre éducation, comme ministère éducation qui, si teacher l'école en Dominique prend initiative, ça là programme ça là sérieux et faire ça nous on doit faire qui nous a tourné c'est mal ça qui nous carré en société et c'est pour raison ça là mon ca crier à sous parents mon ca crier à sous teacher à l'école et mettre l'école pour prendre initiative ça là sérieux puisque il ça fait un bon bitin nous tourner manière qui nous carré moun ka agir avec yon et l'autre en Dominique.
L'office qui a une responsabilité pour ça faire des as Dominique bien plaisir pour exercice simulation tsunami qui prend place en ville Gontan semaine passée. Parole celle-là sortira officier programme l'office celle-là M. Steve Joseph.
Nous bien contents que exercice là y allait bien. Nous tenons officier ODM à Gontan qui travaille avec la communauté là. Nous comptons nos volontaires M. Cochetti avec M. Christian qui travaille bien avec ces moun pour coordonner l'activité ça là. Nous bien contents qu'ils nous apprendre différentes leçons pour aider nous à présent à faire plan nous plus fort pour garder un compte bagaille tsunami à Dominique.
Joseph fait parole que d'autres simulations qui prennent place d'autres occasions en pays là.
D'autres locations nous avons gardé parce que nous avons servi Gontans pour faire comme ça nous avons créé pilot en première communauté mais nous avons gardé contre communauté comme Calibichi est notre communauté qui est bien bas et bien nous avons créé nous allons en process pour préparer la communauté là préparer plan yo et nous allons en training nous avons fait training pour faire plus plus meilleur pour exécuter le plan là, nous avons exercice à présent pour tester le plan là, pour voir ça apprendre et correctionner pour faire le plan là plus fort. Comme ça, quand l'année la calé, nous qui fait prix pour faire Dominique Tibouin prix préparé si nous tapons quand nous pour affecter par un tsunami.
Et puis, finalement, compagnie de Wasco a annoncé le résultat de la compétition SAP Posta, yo te tient en observance Journée mondiale de l'eau. Plaisir l'école West Coast Pays là, fait submission pour compétition là, quand mettez attention à ces projets de l'West Coast. Cérémonie pour awarder ces étudiants là pour place lundi, où l'officier relations publiques pour compagnie de Wasco Edward Registre fait ces annoncements là.
À manière y sorti, nous tenons un jeune petit fille de 120 pailles, c'est qui matche la première composition avec après nous tenons un enfant de St. John's avec un autre de l'école Coliho avec poster competition là nous tenons deux de Barry, ça qui sorti premier, ça qui sorti deuxième avec troisième là sorti de l'école Coliho. Comme ça nous avons des bravo pour eux, nous avons remercié eux, ils ont participé à la compétition. C'est les autres là qui sorti les autres l'école qui participent aussi, nous aussi remercier eux pour l'effort. Nous aussi les remercier Royal Bank of Canada, ils ont présenté un cadeau. Ils viennent ensemble avec Damasco pour présenter un cadeau. Nous les remercier GIS, la compagnie GIS Bookstore. Yo toutes ces légumes en cadeau aussi avec aussi First Domestic Insurance pizza Perkins Pizza yo aussi ces légumes en cadeau avec yo et jouis koyo avec tout le monde est bien content ça qui passait nous t'en monsieur Etinoff qui parlait contre importance de l'eau avec ça nous pour faire pour nous ça faire certain que nous protéger gloire nous ni en Dominique en abondance comme ça tout ça passait bien plus tard nous avons en compétition en debate qui a fait parmi de l'école secondaire en Grand-Anse avec nous qui a dupliqué comme ça les ça qu'a fait.
Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelle en créole pour à présent. Non, moi c'est McPherson Luce. Au revoir.
Thank you, McPherson. When we come back, we'll bring you the tip of the day. Today, we'll talk to you about mastering new skills. Self-improvement is necessary to getting ahead, but whether you want to be better at public speaking, using social media, or analyzing data, how do you start? Here's a tip to help you along your way. Start small, whatever you do. Learning new skills can feel overwhelming. Focus on one and break it down into manageable goals. For example, if you're trying to become more assertive, push yourself to talk in the first 5 minutes of a meeting. And that's all for National Focus today. We welcome your suggestions and comments. Please feel free to drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website at news.gov.dm. On behalf of the entire news production team, I'm Fontaine. Thank you for watching.